What's going on, everybody? Welcome to a Tuesday edition of Mile High Hockey. Hope you had a good holiday and a happy Thanksgiving. It was busy for the Colorado Avalanche, man. It was fun on Black Friday to have an afternoon game against the Minnesota Wild and then a day game on Saturday at Ball Arena against the Montreal Canadiens. I wasn't there, Drew, but I heard that it was quite rowdy at Ball Arena. You know, you get a holiday weekend crowd, people having a good time. Let's talk about those two games before we get to Vancouver tonight. I want to begin with Gabriel Landeskog because he had 3 goals in a span of 24 hours, including an absolutely gritty, impossible, awesome to see goal against the Wild. It looks like he gets smacked in the face, gets back up. Nathan MacKinnon finds him on the back post, bangs at it a couple times, puts it in 2-2. Avalanche eventually get it to overtime in a shootout, earn a point, see their 10-game winning streak snapped. But they start a new one on Saturday against Montreal. Landeskog has 2 goals. Brock Nelson has 2 goals. Avs cruise to a 7-2 victory. A lot of information for you there, my friend. But I'm curious if Gabriel Landeskog scoring 3 goals in 2 games was the highlight of the weekend for you like it was for me.
Yeah, I think it has to be. I mean, just seeing the way he has played the last couple of weeks. We've been kind of talking about it. Like, once he went down to the third line a couple of weeks ago, it's like, all right, now this is going to be an opportunity for him to kind of get things back to normal, maybe ease his way back into the season, if you will. And then when he got bumped up to the second line with the injury to Gavin Brindley, you start to see like, hey, wait a minute. This Gabe Landeskog guy is starting to look like the guy that we kind of know and love. Like, you're seeing him do the things that he's always done that have made him successful. And the fact that he's putting the puck in the net now is such a huge deal for this Avalanche team, because now you're starting to see where you're going to get depth on your second line. It's not just the top line that's dominating, producing all the time now. So with Gabe Landeskog doing what he's doing, with Brock Nelson starting to get things going, you look at that second line now and you go, okay, now this is a real top 6. This is the top 6 that you envisioned going into the season. And that's such a huge deal for this team that, like we've talked about, doesn't really have a whole heck of a lot of flaws, but really, really cool to see Gabe start to look like the player he was 3-4 years ago.
Yeah, and Valerian Nichushkin will play tonight as well. Jared Bednar confirmed that after morning skate. Hasn't played since November 11th, so misses about 3 weeks. Good to have Nichushkin back out there as well. A deep team only gets deeper. He's got 5 goals, 7 assists. Hasn't been spectacular, but it's been solid, and it just is scary for the rest of the NHL. You mentioned Landeskog looking like the guy from 3-4 years ago. I want to talk more about that goal against the Wild, because it was the kind of highlight, Drew, that you can just watch on loop over and over again. Guy gets hit in the face, and you're worried, is he hurt? Is he down? Does he need stitches? Does he lose a tooth? And he gets up, and I love it too when it happens on the road, because the whole arena goes silent and you could hear the raw emotion. You could hear literally Nathan MacKinnon scream. You could hear Cale Makar scream, and then they go give Gabe Landeskog the big hug. The Wild are certainly red hot is now right now as well. I mean, what did you make of that Landeskog goal against the Wild? That maybe was the highlight of the season thus far for the Avs.
Well, and it was also like when it came in the game, because the Avalanche were getting outplayed for the most part in that game, especially out goalied. As great as Wedgwood was in that game, Jesper Wallstedt was even better in that hockey game. They couldn't find the back of the net. Although they were generating a lot of chances, they could not find the back of the net. And to see Gabe get in there, get in that gritty area the way he does, it just was like it was a flashback to me to everything that we've seen from Gabe Landeskog over his career. And to see his teammates, like every time he scores a goal, you see it. Like his teammates just react in such a way that shows you just how important of a player he is to this hockey club. Being the captain and the leader is one thing, but what he provides on the ice is a whole other combination that this team has sorely missed over the last couple of years. And you can tell his teammates just they're over the moon. It's like he scored his first NHL goal.
Right.
Every time he scores, his teammates react that way. It's really cool to see him playing the way he is. And the fact that, think back to the beginning of the season, we're talking about how much is Gabe going to play this year? Is he not going to play in these back-to-backs? We haven't had that conversation at all.
He's played every single game.
He's played every game.
Every single game.
He skipped a couple practices, which all veteran guys tend to do. So the fact that we haven't even talked about that as being a conversation piece this year is such a huge deal to me. And it's awesome to see that he's back to being the Gabe Landeskog that we love.
Yeah, and you're right. The goal was massive. Tied it 2-2. They did get it to OT. You could tell the Wild were playing for the shootout, which honestly, maybe not a horrible strategy. They're good at shootouts. The Avalanche are bad at shootouts. Nathan MacKinnon did have a really good chance in the final seconds of that OT. Couldn't quite pass it home. And then The Wild's goalie had the big old celebration that created a firestorm because Avs fans were mad, whatever. We don't need to dive into that, but let's flash forward to Saturday, because then you get home from Minnesota, what, 7, 8 o'clock at night, you sleep in your own bed, you're up the next day, quick turnaround against Montreal, and you score 7 goals on them. And Brock Nelson, they thought had a hat trick. The hats come on the ice at Ball Arena, but they had changed his first goal to Landeskog. That was kind of a goofy situation. Marty Necas had a great pass to set up Brock Nelson's what we thought was third goal, actually a second goal. And then you're talking about vintage Landeskog. I mean, the tip he had on the 7th goal, that I felt like I was in a time machine to 2022, 2021, 2020, 2019. Gabe just in front, the hand-eye coordination, unbelievable. Montreal's goalie had no chance. What were your biggest takeaways from Saturday, and sort of just a good reminder that, yes, winning streaks don't last forever, but this team is so resilient, they immediately get back on track and start a new one.
Yeah, it did matter. They did it against a Montreal team that's a decent team, not a great team, but a decent team. But they're going out there and they're dominating, especially on home ice. You saw what they did at San Jose last Wednesday, going up 6-0 against that team. And here what MacKinnon Celebrini said after the game, he's like, yeah, this is just a dominant hockey team. We just got our butts kicked by the best team in the NHL. And they're proving it night in and night out. That had to be a tough loss on Friday to Minnesota, because it's the first time all year where you kind of look at it and say, man, maybe this team was humbled a little bit. And to have the response coming back out Saturday afternoon against a pretty decent hockey club in Montreal, in front of your home crowd, in an afternoon game, short rest, all that stuff, it's important to see that this team's just like, all right, whatever. We're just going to come back and just go kick the crap out of a pretty decent hockey team in Montreal on Saturday. So important to do that. Now you're kind of looking at it, it's like, all right, now you're coming home, you're going to play Vancouver tonight. Then you're going to go on a little bit of a road trip here to the East Coast. Things get a little bit more challenging after that. So it's going to be fun to kind of see how this team transitions, and just how long can they keep this one loss in regulation thing going.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy to sit here and talk about this. It's December 2nd. They lost 1 game in regulation. It's absurd. It's crazy. I don't even know how to really put it into words, just how really just what we're watching with this team. We talked about it last Tuesday about just enjoying the ride and enjoying every single time this team takes the ice. And if you're not doing that, it's kind of a crazy thing. And I know I'm doing it every week, and it's just gonna be fun to watch this team now go out on the road, hopefully start to play some divisional games, create a little bit more separation as well after this road trip, and just kind of see where it goes from there.
Yeah, it is kind of hard to wrap your mind around the history that this team is seemingly making on a nightly basis. And that one loss was to Boston, I believe. And I think the Avalanche outshot them by $15. I mean, there's a real chance that they wouldn't have any losses in regulation thus far. All right, some news of the day. Nathan MacKinnon has been named the #1 star of the month in November. 11 goals, 15 assists, 26 points. He joins Jason Robertson from the Dallas Stars, who also had a huge month as the 2-star. And then Connor Bedard of the Chicago Blackhawks, big month, 10 goals, 13 assists, is the 3rd star of the month. It's MacKinnon. We get it. He's going to have months where he wins big time awards, but it does just crack me up, Drew, when we see this kind of news. We're excited, don't get me wrong, but it just feels like, oh, ho hum, another star of the month. Whereas, a decade ago when they were at their lowest of the low in the first year of Jared Bednar, right after Patrick Waugh quit, we would have killed for news like this. I know we do it, don't take it for granted type thing, but MacKinnon, 1st star of the month, kind of steamrolling toward a Hart Trophy, it looks like.
Well, it's kind of a thing now where when you watch Nathan MacKinnon over the last couple of years, you think when you get to these stars of the month, you're almost surprised that it's not him.
Right.
When he actually doesn't win it. You're like, wait, he didn't win it this month? I think Brendan McNicholas from the Avs tweeted out that this was the 7th time that he's won 1st star of the month in his career. That's an impressive feat to be the best player over the course of a month in the NHL 7 different times. It's awesome to see. And you talk about the Hart Trophy. Is there any doubt that he's well on his way to it at this point? In fact, I would actually make the argument that there's probably 2 players on this Avalanche squad that are probably #1 and #2 in the Hart Trophy conversation right now between him and Cale Makar. Odds are Cale Makar is not going to get there because he's probably going to need 100 points in order to be truly in the conversation. But, I mean, Nate's looking at a year where he's probably going to get 145, 150 points. He's probably, I think he's on pace for 57, 58 goals. I mean, you're talking about a player that's cementing himself, in my mind, as the best player in the NHL. I think he's overtaken McDavid. I think he's overtaken Leon Draisaitl. I thought this last year, to be honest with you. I don't think this is a brand new, hot, fresh take, but I think he's proven right now that, guess what? number 29 in Colorado Avalanche uniform is the best player in the NHL.
Yeah, and he should have 2 Hart trophies to his
Yeah.
name. Hopefully that gets corrected this year with a second Hart trophy for Nathan MacKinnon. I'm with you. I mean, he's steamrolling right now. And the fact, you're right, 7 player of the months. Most guys get one of those in their career. It's a big deal. He's obviously a Hall of Famer one day, and we're hoping he continues to stack trophies, both individual and the Stanley Cups, to his name. All right, tonight, Vancouver. Nichushkin is back, as I mentioned. Some guys were sick yesterday. I'll take their word that they were sick, but also we can all read calendars. The Avs had a day game Saturday. They were off Sunday, back at it Monday, kind of a light practice. I assume the Avalanche had some sort of team Thanksgiving celebration, let's put it that way, on Saturday. But Landeskog sick, back in. MacKinnon sick, back in. Parker Kelly sick, back in. Olofsson got a maintenance day, back in. I'm not trying to just, flippantly say they're going to win 6-2, Drew, but Canucks stink. Kind of feels like the Avalanche are going to win 6-2 tonight. It's going to be another party at Ball Arena.
That's what should happen. Although, I'll be honest, this is a game that kind of worries me a little bit.
Oh, why?
They struggle with Vancouver.
Okay.
Like, they got swept by the Canucks last year.
Yeah.
A bad Vancouver team last year. Vancouver took them to overtime when they played earlier this year up in British Columbia, 5-4. They guys actually won an overtime game. How about that? For whatever reason, like, you're going out on a 4-game road trip now on the East Coast. It's kind of that last little game on a little mini homestand here. It's just kind of a weird spot where you just feel like this is a game that they could sneakily lose. I'm not predicting it.
All right.
It's like, it's a spot where you're like, I don't really like this tonight for whatever reason. Because you're right, Vancouver stinks. They are not a good hockey team. They cannot keep the puck out of the net. Their goaltending situation is terrible. And I say all these things, and I'm like, wait, why am I sitting here worried about this game tonight for all these reasons I'm mentioning? But listen, Vancouver's got a couple talented players, Elias Pettersson, Quinn Hughes, the top 2 players on the team in scoring. You look where they're at. Those guys have 22 points. Compare that with where Nathan MacKinnon's at, where Marty Natchez is at, where Cale Makar's at. It's not even close. So in theory, this should not be a game you should worry about, but we'll see. I don't know. I think the question for me is, I'm more curious to see is what I think happens tonight is, does Gabe Landeskog stay on that second line, or does he go back down to the third line? My anticipation is that he's going to stay on that second line the way he's been playing right now. Ross Colton will go back to that third line. And if that is the case, I want to see how that line meshes together now, because it wasn't very good when they started out this season, those first couple of weeks before Gabe got bumped down to the third line. And we got to remember, Val, before he got hurt, was on a 7-game goalless drought. Right. So he's got to get it going. Brock's gotten it going. Gabe's gotten it going. Now we got to see Val Nichushkin come back and get it going as well. So they can get that second line going. Everything's going to be, breezy, smooth sailing from here, the next couple of weeks at least.
All right. Well, hope some of you are heading to Ball Arena tonight for Avs and Canucks, and then they'll head out east for a road trip, and we'll be back on Friday for another edition of Mile High Hockey. And in the meantime, make sure you subscribe on YouTube. We'd love that. Like, leave a comment, share, do all the fun things. He's Drew. I'm Will, our producer, Dan. We'll catch you in a few days here on Mile High Hockey.